Look, Ron DeSantis is there in Florida. This looks like it could be a dress rehearsal for the 2024 Republican primary for president. There may be a day when more Americans have to contend with his policy choices. What does DeSantis's war on education reveal about his vision for America?
Well, for somebody who talks so much about freedom and is all full of bluster, he seems to be pretty afraid, pretty threatened by free thought, by a child's right to, or high schoolers, college right to go to a book of their own free will and discover things about their own history, their own traditions. This is what authoritarian states do. They ban books, they remove books, they censor authors. And it's very concerning. Also, his anti-woke legislation has this individual freedom bill that is trying to say you shouldn't learn histories that might make you uncomfortable or guilty. And that's a pure whitewashing and trying to get to people to not have a moral conscience about the repressions past and present. And when you remove people's moral compass, it's very dangerous.
In a new column for the New York Times, Mara Gay writes, quote, "The question now is whether the majority of Americans in institutions like the College Board are able to see the backlash clearly not as some kind of culture war sideshow, but as the very lifeblood of the anti-democratic, sometimes violent political movement gaining currency in the United States. Black history is a direct threat to this movement. It humanizes the enslaved and their descendants. It opens the door for exactly the reckoning that makes interracial coalitions possible, giving life to democracy and pluralism and stripping would-be tyrants of their power." So how does whitewashing of history fit into the rise of authoritarianism that we're seeing across the world and even here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because here we have Putin putting up statues to Stalin, and every single dictator or wannabe dictator immediately tries to remodel history and ban certain parts that aren't going to fit with his agenda. But I would ask people to consider these educational, this educational censorship in a broader thing of what kind of vision of America is Ron DeSantis peddling. If you think about, he just he wants to approve constitutional carry to create more gun violence, and gun violence is the biggest killer of children. He's allied himself with anti-science positions, spreading disease. He appointed a conspiracy theorist at the head of Department of Health, and he's against climate change and interfering in businesses that are, promoting ESG. And so none of this is conducive to American prosperity, innovation, technology, all the things that have made America great.